The first sound wasn't the moan, it was the laugh. A low, breathless laugh that didn't belong to me. I froze halfway up the staircase, my hand still gripping the wooden railing. The house was supposed to be empty. Emily had texted an hour earlier saying she was running errands. The kind of message that never needed explanation in a marriage built on routine. But that laugh, it sliced through the silence like a blade dragged across glass. For a second I thought I imagined it. The hallway light flickered behind me, buzzing faintly. My heartbeat thudded in my ears, loud enough to drown out reason. I took another step, slow and deliberate, feeling the wood creak beneath my foot. Then came the second sound, her voice. Not speaking. Whispering. A whisper I'd heard 1,000 times in the dark, when she pressed her forehead against mine and said she loved me. Only now, she wasn't saying my name. My body moved before my mind did. I walked down the hallway, each step heavy, thick, like I was moving through water. The bedroom door was half closed. A thin strip of light spilled into the hall. Pushed it open. Time didn't slow, it stopped. Emily was on the bed, her hair tangled, her shirt half open. And beside her, a man I didn't recognize. His hand was still on her waist, their bodies tangled in a moment that didn't belong to me. She screamed first. It wasn't guilt. It was shock, like I was the intruder. "Mark, what are you doing here?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat was sandpaper and fire. The room smelled like sweat and perfume, the kind she only wore on our anniversaries. My eyes didn't know where to land. The window. The dresser. The bed. Her bare shoulder. The stranger's hand. He scrambled away, grabbing his shirt, avoiding my eyes like I was something that might break him. Emily stood, shaking. This isn't what you think. The oldest lie in the world. For a moment I thought I might scream, or throw something, or break the door off its hinges. But what came out wasn't rage, it was a whisper. "How long?" She flinched like I'd struck her. Silence. The stranger slipped past me and ran down the hallway, footsteps pounding down the stairs, the front door slamming behind him. His absence didn't change anything. The betrayal didn't leave with him. Emily wrapped her arms around herself, barely meeting my eyes. "Mark, please. You don't understand." My chest tightened. "Then make me understand." She sank onto the edge of the bed, shoulders collapsing inward. Her voice cracked. "I didn't plan for this." I laughed. A hollow, unfamiliar sound. People don't accidentally fall into each other. Her eyes filled, but there was something else there too, anger. "You don't get to act innocent," she snapped. "You haven't touched me in months." The words hit harder than the betrayal. "That's what this is about?" My voice trembled. "You cheat on me because I didn't hold you enough?" Her hands balled into fists. "You stopped seeing me. You stopped hearing me." I opened my mouth to argue, but the truth caught in my throat. We had been drifting, quietly, invisibly, like two continents pulling apart beneath the ocean. No explosions. Just distance. But distance isn't betrayal. "Who is he?" I asked. She hesitated for a second too long. "Daniel," she whispered. "From work." I felt the floor tilt beneath me. I had met him once, at her office holiday party. He shook my hand, smiled politely, told me I was lucky. The memory now felt poisoned. "How long?" I repeated. Her eyes closed. A tear slid down her cheek. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of stolen hours, secret texts, rehearsed lies. 6 months of sleeping beside me while sharing her heart with someone else. Something inside me fractured. Not violently but quietly, like a bridge losing its final bolt. When she spoke again, her voice wasn't soft, it was sharp. "At least he makes me feel alive." The words punched the air out of my lungs. She looked shocked at herself, like the truth slipped before she could cage it. But once spoken, it hung between us, heavy and undeniable. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, breathing through the ache spreading across my chest. "Alive," I repeated. "And what am I supposed to do with that?" She covered her face with her hands. "I'm sorry. I don't know who I am anymore." I sat down, not beside her but across the room, leaning against the wall. The paint was cool against my back. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. For a long time, neither of us spoke. I thought about the small signs, the late nights explained too smoothly, The sudden guarding of her phone, the way she smiled at nothing sometimes. I had noticed. I just chose not to believe. Because love teaches you to lie to yourself before anyone else does. When she finally lowered her hands, her voice was barely audible. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I said softly. You already did. She nodded, tears collecting at her chin. I don't know how to fix this. That was the moment I realized something. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was asking for permission to leave, to escape, to chase whatever fire she thought would save her from the dullness of ordinary life. I stood slowly. My legs felt numb. I walked to the closet, opened the drawer and pulled out a small velvet box, the one I had planned to give her next week on our 10th anniversary. Inside was a necklace engraved with the words "Still Us." Her breath hitched when she saw it. You were going to. Yes. She reached for it, but I closed the box before she could touch it. Some things don't belong to people who break them. I walked toward the door. She stood, panic rising in her voice. Mark, please don't leave like this. We can talk. We can figure this out. I paused at the doorway, my back to her. Emily, I said quietly, you didn't just cheat. You ended something you didn't know wasn't finished. The silence behind me was suffocating. I stepped into the hallway. But before I reached the stairs, she said the one thing I wasn't prepared for. I'm pregnant. My hand froze on the railing. The house went still. No sound. No air. Just a ringing in my ears like the world had cracked open. And then her voice, small, trembling. I don't know if it's yours.